A third thing is we need to believe that God is big enough to handle your past. I think this is one of the key things for us being able to accept, to own, to process our past is, do we believe God is big enough to handle what happened to us? That God can handle the emotion that we're going to have about this, the fallout of what has come up from all of this. Or do we think God looks at what happened in our past and goes, oh, that's messy. Why don't you kind of deal with that a little bit, and then maybe I'll come. You know, God doesn't stay away. God has said, I'm never going to abandon you. I'll never leave you and forsake you. God does not cause evil, but God is able to bring good from evil. The promise of Romans 8:28, that as we are those who are called according to his purposes, that God can enter into any situation. And he doesn't make what was evil good, but he can bring good from that. In the novel Ender's Shadow, there's two characters talking. The first one says, do you know why Satan is so angry all the time? Because whenever he works a particularly clever bit of mischief, God uses it to serve his own righteous purposes. The second person says, so God uses wicked people as his tools? The first responds, God gives us the freedom to do great evil if we choose. Then he uses his freedom to create goodness out of that evil, for that is what he chooses. The second person, so in the long run, God always wins. The first person, yes. In the short run, though, it can be uncomfortable. And we need to understand, God gives us freedom as human beings. We can do great evil. And you look at the news and our world today, and there's lots of people who are choosing to do great evil with the freedom they've been given. We also have the freedom to do great good. But God will always use his freedom. God is the most free being in all the universe. God will always use his freedom to do good. And God can take what was meant for evil and bring great good from that. The cross is the greatest example of that God has given to us. The incredible evil done to Jesus, who never did any wrong, and that God has brought salvation through that. As we look at our world, as we look at the suffering we may go through, the obstacles we face, we may not understand what God is doing. We may not be able to see the big picture. I mean, think how long Joseph was in Egypt before he began to unlock and go, oh, God was really in this. God is working in this way. This is what God was doing. And so there's times when we can feel confused and overwhelmed, fearful, angry by our circumstances. But will we hold to God? Will we press into God in those moments and go, God, even if I can't see it, even if I don't get to see it in this lifetime, I'm going to believe that there you have meaning, you have purpose, you are doing something good out of all of this. And so, God, I invite you into this mess and pray that you will do that.